Buddy, today I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about a technique that you can use to start being able to remember whatever it is that you want. This technique is called the memory palace or the method of loci, and I found it when I was in college, and it served me extremely well since then. So somebody that's used this very successfully is a person named Dominic O'Brien, who was able to memorize 54 decks of cards in sequence, which is over 2,800 cards, having looked at them only one time. We're not going to get there probably, but we're still going to use this technique, and hopefully you can apply this to this class and whatever other class you want. So this technique involves using visualization and spatial memory in order to remember things by creating a mental map or layout of a familiar place. So this is like your school or your house or your elementary school or MJC or your room or whatever you want, okay? So it's important to choose a familiar location. You want to be able to walk around this place in your mind, okay? So you could probably picture what your house looks like in your mind, right? You can probably picture the steps that you take up to your front door and then going through the hallway and in the bathroom and different things like that. Okay, it doesn't need to be a house. It could also be streets in Modesto or whatever city you live in that you're really familiar with. But again, it needs to be an area that you know quite well. It also needs to be an area that can be easily divided up into different sections. So like my house has different rooms. That makes it easy to divide things up. Okay, so once you have an area that you know really, really well, and you can divide it up into different stations, as you're looking over the thing you want to memorize, you start associating it with those areas. And it's important, or at least it's helpful, to keep them in order. So like, let's say I was trying to remember the organization of life, for instance. So I might walk up on my porch here and see some bacteria. Okay, and it depends on you if this is helpful for you. I like to make my examples weird or extreme. So like I'd be on the front porch and I'd see like some giant bacteria. So that's the first thing. It's the first station in my memory palace. The next thing you might do is, okay, well, what's the next step up after cell? It's tissues. So there might be a big stack of tissues sitting at my front door, and I might use those to wipe up the bacteria or something like that. Okay, then I would walk in the front door and I'd be in my living room back there, and maybe I'd find the next thing in the order of the organization of life. Okay, so what you need to do is find an area that you can walk around in inside your mind. You know it really, really well, and then start associating items in a list as you walk through your memory palace. Okay, like I said, it's also really helpful to create a little bit of a story with the items that maybe connects them, or it can be the item individually that's just kind of off the wall and helps you remember it because it's kind of bizarre. Okay, so once you have associated specific pieces of information with each stage in your memory, you're ready to start walking through your memory palace. Okay, one of the benefits is that it allows you to tap into your spatial memory, which is very often easier to do than tapping into your verbal memory. That's not always true, but as a rule, spatially, it's easier to remember things than it is to remember just a series of words, okay? So by creating a visual map of information and linking it to familiar locations, you can create a memorable and easily accessible memory palace that you can visit whenever you need to recall information, okay? It's important to remember that the memory palace technique, it takes practice, okay? You need to work on this. It's not something that's just going to instantly come to you, but it really doesn't take all that long to figure out, and if not mastered, to be able to utilize pretty effectively, okay? It also, it relies on your ability to walk around a place mentally in your mind's eye, and you need to set down a specific route through that place. So that's why I use my house pretty often, because I have a pretty regular order. I walk up the couple of steps to the front porch. I go to the front porch. I unlock the door. I walk into the living room. I walk into the dining room. I go to the kitchen. Okay. So In the next video, I'm going to give you a specific example using my memory palace of memorizing the characteristics, because your memory palace might be different than mine, but that's what we're doing next time.